Morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here Saturday morning, and I'm starting a little early because I just want to get the stream over and done with. Honestly, I've done a lot of streams in a row, a lot of days in the last year or so, and I think that today may be one of the toughest ones that I have to do, just because I'm just really so annoyed and just really kind of like having to come to grips with this edition of the Toronto Raptors this season. It's hard not to, like, we can keep saying, okay, they're going to figure it out and get through it. But right now, we really do look like a 500 level team, just in all kinds of ways that we're like conducting ourselves in a record and just how things are. It's like, yeah, we'll talk about it. Let's get into it right now. Guardian Transit is first in and saying Pascal is an all star. Scottie is a disappointment and disengaged at times, not forceful enough. Cannot afford to keep Scottie in the starting lineup. His defense is raw. He has no mojo for his offense. I can see Masai Ujiri making some trades. Well, I mean, let's break it all down in a row. I'll work backwards. Masai Ujiri making trades? Yeah. Yeah, I think that, but you may not realize when it's going to happen. It may not happen very soon or anything, but I think that there are signs that we do need a little bit of a shake up, just if anything, just to make guys feel like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be so comfortable, and maybe I should be trying to elevate my game in some ways. Sometimes that's the best. That's sometimes that's what they do, is they'll say, okay, we're going to have to make a trade. The stuff about Scottie, I don't know if it's totally fair. Now, yeah, his game last night was definitely disappointing. And this is the crazy thing. He's had really big games against Orlando so far in his career, and he loves playing against them. He came out with the right energy, and he really was playing well and trying hard at the very beginning of the game. And I thought he was fantastic for the most part, but at some point his lapses got strung together too much, and he just wasn't being aggressive with the ball on the offensive end. So Nick was probably like, "Why am I playing him out there?" So then he didn't play for a huge chunk of time. He had him on the bench for when Orlando kept coming and like taking the lead. Scottie was kind of sitting on the bench at the end of the second for like most of the end of the first and most of the second. So he had weird minutes last night. He had only 32 minutes. He shot 3 of 7 from the field, missed the only three he took, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 3 fouls, a minus 24, and only 6 points. Yeah, that is disappointing, especially since he got one of the 5 starters minutes. And yeah, there were problems on both ends of the court with Scottie. I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but you know what? I would say this, Guardian Transit. This is one game for Scottie, and that if you take a slate of 6 of his games, you're going to see 4 real good games that we won't complain about. One that's kind of and then one that may be like this. So he's pretty consistent overall for what he has to do. But last night was definitely a low spot. But I can't say that he's totally a disappointment either. I'm not disappointed in him. Last night was not a good game for him, but it's like anybody has a bad game sometimes, and we have to give him allowances as a second-year player. And the first part, I completely agree. Pascal is, like some people are saying this morning, without Pascal Siakam, we are like very much a very losing team, and we won't win any games at all if we didn't even have Pascal. So, wow, yeah, this is tough. This is a tough morning. I want to, I'll go through all the normal stuff, but honestly, I'm ruining doing this stream today because I didn't want to get up and face all y'all and talk about this, just because of the game last night was just so disappointing. And that's what Sue is saying also. Good morning, everyone. Disappointing last night. I think our boys really need to figure out their roles. We have to play more team-centered ball and less ISO. We also need to free OG more, or feed OG more. Yeah, I like a lot of what Sue's saying in here. Let's look at OG. OG last night had 44 minutes, y'all. This guy was out there the whole entire time of the game. There should be a much better outcome if OG's going to play most of the game. 2 of 7 from the field. So he actually shot worse than Scottie. Just to point something out here, Guardian Transit. He missed both his 3-pointers. He was 8 of 9 at the free throw line, though, and that's what got him more points. 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 steals, which is huge, huge. Anunoby with 5 steals last night. And then he had a turnover, 4 fouls. He was a +5, though. And then he had 12 points. Now, 12 points in 44 minutes for OG? Yeah, that is not enough. And that totally goes along with what Sue's saying here, why we're not feeding the ball to OG in these situations. Well, it's going to Pascal. It's going to Gary. It's going to Fred. It's going to other places. But maybe OG needs to get his number called more, like Sue's saying. I think that's a good point. And yeah, the stuff about the roles, and all right, listen. I love how Nick Nurse is so laissez-faire and just loose and say, "Hey guys, go and play, and we'll learn things from you, and we'll take it in, and then we'll figure out a really good game plan for the second half of the season." But we're in this weird period of the season where it's like in between when he's gonna start doing this, like because they're still kind of doing laissez-faire stuff right now because guys have been hurt and out for so long in different patches that they have to continue to do the creative, like do whatever you're going to do, and we're going to fact find and figure out what the play is going to be. Well, I think that this is doing them a disservice at this point in the season because by this point, a lot of the other teams in the league have their bread and butter and a lot of basic stuff figured out about how they're going to do things to try and be successful. And in some ways, the Raptors have not established or set that up at all. And it's really, really scary. And it's part of the reason why I'm like, man, I don't really like our chances because we're going to be playing a lot of tough teams and a lot of tough situations. Our schedule is not easy. It's a lie. They said it was like one of the easiest schedules of the year. That's bullshit. That is completely bullshit. But yeah, very disappointing night last night. And can we figure some stuff out, Nick? Like, I'd rather if we're going to be losing and doing stuff like this, you need to play Malachi. You need to play Delano. You need to play the younger guys that need more time on the court, like Orlando plays, just to get them more reps too. If we're going to lose anyway, so why not just play the whole bench and get everybody minutes? Once again, minutes police are in effect. And if I'm looking at the box score last night, Siakam 38 minutes, I'll take it. That's fine. But OG at 44 and we lose by 4. That's no good. Fred VanVleet, 37 minutes, and Gary, 35. So the minutes actually weren't that bad for them last night in some ways. I'd say they overplayed OG. But the other guys, it is what it is. Callie is here. She's saying so frustrated right now. No excuse for that loss. Fred's passed the freaking ball. Assist numbers are atrocious. I don't know what Fred's numbers are for the whole year as far as his assists. Let me just see. He's averaging 6.4 assists a game right now. And he got his average last night, 6 assists. I don't know, Callie. I know he is passing it, and that he's not bad for assists last night. 6 assists, 2 turnovers. So that's a 3-to-1 ratio, which is pretty good. Yeah. I don't know why I'm frustrated with Fred from last night. I mean, he could have shot better for sure. 5 of 14, 2 of 9. He didn't hit a 3 for a long time in the game. And in some ways, if Fred's not hitting his 3 early, and it's kind of like one of these nights where he's searching to get it and he keeps missing, and then he finally gets it late and he gets like 1 or 2 late in the game, that kind of hurts our 3-point shooting for the whole entire game. It's almost like, Fred, you need to come out and be the baseline first, basic, like break the seal kind of like 3-point shooter for us that opens it up for everybody because you showed that confidence. If you don't do it, Gary should, because one of you guys is the best guy to do it. But when Fred doesn't hit a 3 until late in the game, it really kind of hurts our offense at different times. And that is partly, I think, part of why we have stagnation in the offense for long periods. Is because Fred just didn't hit one for a long time, or he's missing them all game, and then he hits a couple near the end. And I did not like that. I did not like that. I mean, I'm not upset about his passing. Some of the stuff that happened last night with the passing is that these guys are passing, and there's easy shots, and they could just make them. They would have more assists. So that's part of the problem too, is we're not converting off of the assists to make the numbers look better. And I know for sure Scottie had at least 2 really good passes at the beginning of the game that just were missed layups by the person he passed to, that he would have got that assist if the person had just converted. So there's a lot of problems with our assist numbers from that too, that people are just not finishing the great pass to them. Like they'll do a great pass to somebody and then they'll fuck up the making the shot. And it's just like at that point, it's like, what can you do? Because at the pro level, you need to make all those close shots and especially be thinking in this way. I have to help out my teammates' assist number by making this shot to help them out. It's almost like sharing is caring. Well, look out for your friend and help their stats by making sure you make the basket. Forget about yourself. You got to think, okay, well, this dude wants to make an assist. I need to make my shot so that they get the assist because there's too many assists left out on the court because we just aren't shitty at shooting. It's so crazy how much we could be a better assist team if we would just shoot better. And we are a horrible shooting team. I am sorry. That is Orlando. That's not Boston on Monday night. That is Orlando. And we should shoot so much better. They outshot us in a pathetic way last night that just makes me upset. We shot 42% from the field. Meanwhile, they're shooting 60% from the field. We get 14 more shots than them attempts, and they still make 6 more field goals than us by the end of the game. That is fucked up. You don't win when you shoot that horrible, and you take that many more shots, and you still don't make more points off field goals. That is bad. Now the 3-point attempts were even, and they were very even, but we did shoot way less than them. They shot 39%, and we shot 29%. So we took 10 more threes than them and made the same amount of threes as them. These are the deficits where we lost right here. The shooting. Free throws, we got the line a lot. And actually, Capers and the crew were actually putting us on the line a lot. James Capers was not our friend last night, but it's okay because it wasn't really the factor in why we lost. Yeah, we shot 82% from the line, but they got 21 free throws and they only missed 2 of them. Meanwhile, we missed 6 free throws at the line and we lost by 4 points. So you can get mad about that too, that, missed free throws, even though we shot 82% from the line. Isn't that crazy? We shot really good at the line and we shouldn't be too upset about that, but they shot even better at the line. 90%. We got out rebounded by the Magic last night. I hate this. These are categories we have to win if we want to win games. And we're not going to shoot well. We better out rebound them. And we did it. They got plus 10 rebounds on us. The assists were even. We got a lot of steals last night, and that was fantastic. That was keeping us in the game. And they did have a huge amount of turnovers. That was one category we were successful at. We got them to turn over the ball 20 times, and we only turned the ball over 7 times, which is fantastic. That's exactly what, if you told me that had happened, I'd tell you we probably won, but we didn't. And another reason why we didn't win was the points in the paint. We actually lost the points in the paint by 10. So these are important Raptor battles, metrics for whether the Raptors are playing the Raptor way, offensive rebounds, out rebounding them, points in the paint, transition points, turnovers. And some of those battles we won, and a lot of them we lost. And it's inexcusable. It's fucked up that we lost a rebounding battle to them. They seemed like they were just plucking the ball away from us. Mo Bamba, Bol, these kind of guys around the basket, that they just couldn't get rebounds around them. You know who we missed last night? Once again, I'll say it, is Precious. Precious is one of our best rebounders on our team. And he's a huge addition to the lineup as far as like gang rebounding with Chris Boucher and Pascal and all those guys. The Precious is a rebounder that is so vital for our team. We're finding out more and more. In fact, I've heard murmurs recently that when Precious gets healthy, forget about him coming off the bench. He's going to take Coloco's starting spot. And that's going to be the new starting lineup, y'all. It's going to be Fred, Scottie, OG, Pascal, and Precious. And I can't wait for it because I think that is going to be a fantastic starting lineup. No slight on the rookie, Christian Coloco. But when Precious comes back and he gets his rhythm, he should be starting with those 5 guys. Because in some ways, and this was put out by an ESPN writer, that they think this is what's going to happen. It makes sense. is that when Precious comes back and he gets healthy, that he will be starting instead of Koloko. And that Koloko, in some ways, is holding his spot for him. And I hope that's right because we could really use him in the starting lineup and doing things that he does right away. So I can't wait for Precious to get back. In fact, I want to maybe start saying that we need to hold judgment on everything until we get Precious back because he really is a big, huge part of why we look so good in the last year or so. Obviously, with him not out there, we miss all kinds of things from him. So, all right, let's keep going. Sue's saying he only had 7 shots last night. Pascal was great, but we can't just rely on him. Over 35 shot attempts last night. Everyone is just waiting on Pascal when they rely on him too much. I want to say a couple things about Pascal last night. I am so thankful that he did what he did. 13 and 27 from the field. That's great shooting and high volume. 2 and 9 from the free 3-point line. From the free throw, it's 8 of 9. That's not bad. 9 rebounds, including 3 offensive. In fact, he was our offensive rebound leader. They kept everybody off the boards, like Chris, Khem, Thaddeus. These guys were really getting boxed out by the Magic, and that may be the scout report on us: is really box out and don't let us get offensive rebounds. And you can see how much we hurt, and we're not able to win. Siakam, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover, 2 fouls, plus 12, 36 points. Now, what Siakam did in the fourth quarter, I really like. And this is exactly what he needs to do. But he does need somebody to step up and stand beside him and helping him carry water at the end of the game. He literally was trying to carry us in the fourth quarter to get back and to win. But him by himself isn't enough to do it. We really needed Fred or Gary or Scottie, any of those guys, OG, to step up and be a secondary scorer in the rush at the end of the game to try and overcome them. Now, first of all, I can talk about all the reasons why this is fucked up, that we were coming from behind again most of the game, and that we have to have one of these stupid ass games where we're so far behind and we're going to be humiliated by the end of the game. And then they try and catch up and it's just too little too late at the end of it, this pattern that we're seeing lately. Yeah, this is every team has maturation process. Oklahoma City, what they're doing is going to take some time to mature. And it was weird because we had this weird hybrid of like a championship core, a core that came from a championship team with young guys coming in, and we can win still because we have knowledge of how to win. But at some point, there's a crossroads of like young development that is not fundamentally sound and not doing things that like you're doing things like the Orlando Magic would do on a normal night with our young guys, and then the older guys, and where it has to steady the ship to continue to go forward, where we continue to win the old way we know how, that we've instilled in our culture. But when there's more of the young guys coming up and taking more of the development and developing, it's harder to keep your standards of your culture as far as winning, as far as like maybe getting out and getting a lead early, being smart, playing smart basketball IQ the whole game so that it all adds up to a win. There's a lot of stuff from our young players that is not helping towards a win. And it's not totally their fault. It's just that they're learning and it's growing pains, and they have to have mistakes mixed with success. And that's a big part of Scottie's game last night, is that he's going to have mistakes to learn. And it's just that we're in a really weird period right now. Like, I don't even understand how we did so well last year with where we're at right now. Like, it was amazing what we did last year. But there's all kinds of problems and signs that we're seeing. Like, our defense is lapsing too much. Our offense looks atrocious very, very often, and we can't shoot. Like, we're one of the worst shooting teams in the league, and I absolutely hate that. So there's a lot of things we're failing at right now that we've been accustomed to not failing at. And that's what makes things so scary and weird right now. Like, I've been doing this channel just over a year, and this is one of the most uncertain times I've been like covering this team right now, the way I feel right now. Because like I said last week, we could go one of two ways. And in some ways, it's up to the guys. It's up to the team. It's up to Pascal. It's up to Scottie. It's up to Fred. They need to decide that we don't want to be a 500 or sub 500 team, and that we do want to be a playoff team, and that we do want to be a winning team. And they need to act like it. They need to come out and play like it. They need to come out and be professionals and really understand how much it takes to do this, because I don't feel like they're coming in serious enough to understand what it takes and how much you guys need to work and do all this stuff, because you guys are loafing to a degree. You're loafing and allowing other teams to get the jump on you, and then you get yourself in a bad position, and you just don't have the firepower and the players right now to get yourself out of those bad positions like you may have been able to in the past. And it's just failure. And, losing to Orlando like this, I mean, in some ways it was a trap game. It was a Friday, for Pete's sake. Fucking Friday. Just need a little bit of that. All right, let me do my 3 stars real quick for this game. And then I'll do 3 stars for the 905 also, because I've got their box score up too. My number 1 star obviously is Pascal, because he really did try and carry us on his back by himself to the win. And he actually admirably almost got close. Like, the fact that we only lost by 4, considering that they were up by huge amounts at a couple different times during the game. They'd be in a big, huge amount in the first half, and then we shrunk it. And then they got another big lead in the second half, and then we shrunk it again. And it's just too little too late. It's just too fucking little too late. And letting Orlando score 37 points in the first quarter is a disaster. It's exact opposite of what we need to be doing, as far as like clamping them down and not letting them get good vibes and good feelings in the game. And that's the big difference between last Saturday night and last night, is that we did a good job of taking vibes away from people like Banchero and Franz Wagner, who Franz Wagner just absolutely did whatever the fuck he wanted to do last night. And that was embarrassing. And I said the other thing about him the other day, and I'm like, well, now I have to take that back, because Franz actually super outplayed Scottie in this one. And, Magic Fan has a argument now for Franz Wagner being better than Scottie at this point. I can't disagree after last night's battle. So there you go, Scott. You need to take that motivation to be better than Franz. Mo Wagner, really annoying last night, too. Markelle Fultz still doesn't impress me, even though he was 6 for 9, 15 points. He still makes a lot of mistakes, and he's not a fundamentally good player. I'm not impressed with him at all. Mo Bamba being out there, not being out there in the last game, was a factor. He was somebody who was very much active as far as 13 rebounds and just gobbling up rebounds. And that may have been a huge factor in why we didn't do well in the offensive rebounds, is Bamba being out there. So really, really annoying. But yeah, we needed to limit the good vibes for Paulo and Franz. And as soon as they got going and they got good vibes going in the game, well, it was a uphill battle after that for the Raptors, because we just needed them to have not good vibes. But they got going and they felt good, and that was a mess up. We should have had them clamp down from the beginning and not let Orlando get rolling, because that really, really hurt us. Really, really hurt us. All right, let's keep going. You're agreeing with Kelly? Yes, I agree with Kelly too. And the stress meter was a little high last night at the end. It was stupid. Mike's here, logical Raptors fanatic. The Magic made key adjustments, and having Anthony and Paulo were issues for us. Fred VanVleet was the only one guarding them on the perimeter well. Scottie was the second man there, and he wasn't doing well. Yeah. Man, I mean, I don't even know to break this whole down, because in some ways there were a lot of disappointing mess ups and stuff. Like one thing that Nick Nurse said that he should have done, and I say it all the time, is he should have played Khem Birch in the second half. He doesn't know why he didn't play him in the second half. Get your inclination to play Khem Birch more. Because listen, Mo Wagner at the beginning of the game was killing us down low. He was just going, and Franz, same thing. They were just going straight to the basket and just putting it in. Well, whenever that's happening, it seems like we got an open door. We're at the beginning of the Tampa season again. The way our defense is down low, you need to get Khem Birch into the game. It's almost like he's just he's a mandatory. That if you have problems with sealing the door down beside the basket with points in the paint, and the other team is just coming up there and just laying it in, dunking, you need to put Khem Birch out there, because he will resist that. He will put a resistance for that, and very, very successful resistance, Nick. Like, I don't understand this. You have role players on your team. You have roles Well, why can't you read in the game what role you need out there at that time? Like there was a point in the beginning of the game where I was like, okay, we can't hit any threes and we can't get any rebounds. Put in Chris and Gary. Put them in right now. Don't wait until 8 minutes into the game to see how much they're failing. If they continue to fail or they're not doing well enough at that point, put those guys that will fix it in right away. In the low post defense, it's Khem. That if you need somebody to shut the door on a Mo Wagner who keeps walking right up to the basket and laying it in, you go get Khem Birch. But he did admit it in the interview last night that he should have played him in the second half. He did play him 7 minutes in the first half, and it was successful when Khem was out there. What did our guys do off the bench? We didn't even see Flynn or Banton once again. I don't understand this. Anyway, my second star of the game is Gary Trent, who off the bench once again had a fantastic shooting game last night. He had 35 minutes, 8 of 16 from the field, 4 of 10 from three. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, and 2 fouls. So a lot of twos in his stat line and 20 points. 20 points, 35 minutes. It's not totally the right amount, but the shooting is fantastic, 8 of 16. And maybe Gary should have took more shots and gotten even more points. But he was good. He was really good. And once again, Gary's really assimilated to being a bench guy really well. And I just think that it's the right thing for right now. That I don't think he's going to get back in the starting lineup anytime soon. The third star is reluctantly. Who did I pick for the third star? I think I picked OG. Actually, I picked OG. I couldn't pick Fred because I do feel like Callie's right. He did fail last night because he didn't step up as a secondary leader in some ways. But OG, I picked as the third star just because of the 5 steals and the 8 rebounds, but he didn't really play that well, honestly, in a lot of ways. He wasn't aggressive enough. So there's your 3 stars for the game last night. Siakam, Trent, and OG were the 3 stars. Now on the 905, they lost also last night. A game where they were doing well at different times and they would get real close, and the game was pretty close the whole game, but they just failed at the end. And I really feel like this is a motivation problem on the 905 with what's happening with them, that they're just not motivated. They're 5-8 for the record this year now. And it's just ugly. The player of the game was Justin Champagny. He was fantastic, guys. I watched the game at the same time as the other game. I had them both on. And Justin was 10 for 15 from the field. He had 6 offensive rebounds and 13 rebounds altogether, 25 points. He was fantastic. Honestly, that may have been one of Justin's best 905 games ever last night. Jeff Doughton Jr. is the second player of the game. For me, second star, 9 of 15 from the field. That's great shooting. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 23 points for Jeffrey Doughton Jr. And then my third star is just going to go to Ron Harper Jr. But honestly, he didn't play that well, and neither did Reggie. They were very much not shooting very well. Ron Harper was 6 for 15. He was 1 of 6 at the 3-point line. He missed his only free throw attempt. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, and 13 points. I really picked Ron just because he stuffed the stat sheet with a lot of stats. 3 steals and 2 blocks. That's pretty good. But yeah, really the rest of the 905, not really a whole lot of note. Gravette started, which I found was interesting because normally Gabe Brown would be starting. And he only got a 3, only 1 3. And that's disappointing because he did play starters minutes. He only scored 3 points. He could have really helped them. And then the bench production there wasn't much from anybody in a major way. Like nobody really scored a whole lot. And Maine, you know what? Listen, they just played really well over us and kept us down for most of the game. And it sucked because I saw that game go lost and I'm like, oh man, I don't want this to be a double L night. And it did. It became a double L night because the main roster also screwed up. So yeah, 2 close losses for both Raptor teams last night. Just sucks. Friday nights suck for the Raptors. I don't know what it is. Are these guys thinking they're going out on dates? It's like a night on the town. It's going to be fun and they can let loose. See, that's the thing. A Friday night for an NBA team should be treated like a Monday morning. This isn't like a Friday night. This isn't TGIF for y'all. You need to start thinking this is Monday, 9 a.m., and you're coming in for the work week when Friday night comes around, 7 p.m. Because I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a weird biorhythm that's instilled in us naturally over our course of our life because we just Friday night cut loose. Oh, it's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. Get a beer. I don't know what it is about Friday night. I've even had like a little bit of conspiracy theory thinking. Is like, did the NBA on the down low have a directive to not let the Raptors win on a Friday night in subversive ways, whether it's the way they set the record up, the schedule up on the Friday nights with different games that are traps? Is it that some referees are coming in and saying, oh, I got to remember this year the Raptors don't win on Friday? Because there could be very weird, like little underlying things going on with why we cannot win on a Friday night right now. It's very weird. It's very weird. Next week, we have to win on a Friday night because it's our last chance to beat Brooklyn this year. And we really need to break this Friday night streak of losing. And next week's a great week to do it. Okay, Monique is here. Good to see you. Superfan Monique Lawrence. Simply got to be better. Pascal should have taken the final shot. Glad so many people know where coming from with my write-up. 37 points in the first quarter. Be focused here, not my team. I know of something. Yeah, Monique, thanks once again for the write-up late after the game. Always informative and interesting to see your observations. Yeah, listen, we have to have a pride at a certain point. Masai really wants us to win, and it needs to be a winning team, and that is the pressure there. And if these guys aren't doing this, or if there's something happening, or something resting on their laurels, or something's going on, they're not making it happen. They're not connecting things together. This is bad because heads will roll, and this will happen. The Masai will have to analyze, and him and Bobby may have to make a move or do something just to shake something up. There are definitely some clear voids in our team, or things that we're lacking. And a huge one is obviously a reliable shooter. I thought we addressed that this summer in some ways. At least we tried to, whether it was within our own development of guys like Scottie and Pascal going out and trying to shoot better shooters, whether it's going and get Otto Porter Jr. or Juancho Hernangomez. But it's still like not showing. In fact, our shooting is worse than last year. It seems like last year we weren't happy with our shooting at all last year. This year we're not happy with it this year either. And I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it. Now, that's part of the byproduct of Vision 6-9 drafting. If Bobby Webster and Masai are going to continue to get like athletic dudes that aren't necessarily like, known for their shooting from when they're coming up, they're known as just like studs or athletic like gifts, and not really like known sharpshooters that are coming up in the draft. And that's the difference. It's like, if you're going to go 6-9 vision, your field goal percentage may hurt in certain ways. This may be one of the lessons overall for NBA teams to learn. If you're doing the 6-9 vision, you better figure out how you're going to get your field goal percentage up, because in a lot of ways you're not going to have good shooters on your team. And that's maybe one of the down things about doing Vision 6-9. All right, let's see. Tom Duke is here. Good morning. He spelled it with the U again. You guys go Raptors. Yeah. Good morning. I don't want to fake cry or crocodile tears because they are so close to being real ones. I'm not going to lie. All right, Mike's saying, jumped. All right, hang on. Make sure I'll get to all y'all and all your comments and everything you guys got to say. Mike is saying, when Fred sat, we had OG and Scottie on the guards and had to hide Gary in the corner, and they kept calling him to switch onto. They plugged the passing lanes and sagged off of the spicy three and collapsing. Yeah, the poison, you could describe how we took it. Oh my gosh. Monique's saying Masai will jump in soon enough. I know it. You can't tell me he won't love Raptors. Always think this is what you call hard love, Lex. Well, there needs to be some hard love in different ways. I don't know, Nick. You need to maybe break some of your habits right now, because maybe some of your habits are holding us back and messing us up in some ways. You got to figure out what we're doing. We can't be caught in the subway door, halfway in the subway and it's halfway out and it's leaving the station. Either we're going to go all in and try and win a championship and be a great playoff team and win as hard as we can, or we're going to have, in some ways, I'd like to just kind of do some things in development for the rest of the year, because I don't think it's realistic for us to make a good push, at least not right now. Now, if you guys can get that click that you talked about last year, something just clicked, then go ahead and go with the green light. But until that happens, and maybe you're still searching for it, I'd like you to go more development and start playing the youngsters and stop playing everybody such heavy minutes. Really, really try this, and maybe you'll find success through doing this, Nick, because like what you're doing right now is not working. Whether it's like you're tiring out the starters have too much on their shoulders, too much of a burden throughout the whole entire game, and they're not getting enough help from role players that are on the roster with them in different ways, whether it's scoring or just spot duty in different times. I don't know. You need to figure this out, because what you're doing right now is not working. And we need to get a better recommitment to certain things from the players. And you may need to do this, Nick. You may need to take all 17 of the players that we have available on a roster right now. And whoever's going to work the hardest, whoever's going to do this, whoever's going to do that is the only people going to be playing. And that if you can tell that somebody and people are just not doing what they're supposed to be doing in different ways, they need to come out. And even if it means you're playing Jeff Doughton Jr., Juancho Hernan-Gomez, Khem Birch, OG Anunoby, and Pascal Siakam, so be it, is what I'm saying. Even if you have to mix up the end of the bench guys, whoever is coming with that right attitude, that right energy, and that right dog, as Chris Boucher put it, you need to play them and stop just playing guys just because they are in the pecking order on our team and they're above and they've always been there, like recently. That you need to start maybe thinking about this. That the reward system is you get to play if you're playing your ass off. Because there's too much of this not happening with some guys and not consistently. And you know how you benched Chris and put him in the doghouse a couple years ago for not being consistent in certain ways. Well, you've molded him, and he's grown into this dude that's really doing really well, and it's really great job you did with Chris Boucher. Well, maybe you need to start doing that. Like guys that play and they're just not getting consistent run, like the way they play consistently in it. You can't play them. You got to like bench them for a whole half or a whole game or something like that, just to make a note that make them understand you're not being consistent enough. So, and I'm not even going to name who I'm talking about because it could be any of them. Honestly, I'm not exempting any of them. It could be Pascal even. So it's really like if they're not coming with the right effort and the energy, or like, the other thing you got to look at is, are they tuned in with each other? Is there talking? Is there communicating on the defensive end? Is there also things like where they're looking to help each other and get each other involved on the offensive end? You might want to really think about your criteria for why you're playing who and when and how much, and really shake it up. Because that may give more carrots in front of guys to get motivated to play harder, play better, play smarter, play more efficient. Because you're not getting the best results out of this roster. I'm just going to tell you right now, Nick. In a way, Bobby Webster did his job this summer. He did a home run summer. I'm going to tell you right now, Bobby Webster had a home run. He signed Otto Porter Jr. He drafted Christian Coloco. He got Juancho Hernan-Gomez. He did so good this summer. I can't blame the management. I got to blame the coach and the coaching staff and the schemes and what they're doing with them, not getting the results out of a team that they should be getting so much better results out of. And that's the problem. That's the problem right there. Let's see. Mike's saying we need a second defensive guard. Okay, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think you're right. That was something lacking last night. Evelyn's saying, good morning, Raptor Free crew. I'll be traveling to Los Angeles, California tomorrow at 8 a.m. Just want to wish you a happy holidays and a peaceful new year. Be back on January 2023. Let's go Raptors. All right. Thank you, Evelyn. And I like your emoticons. You got the Christmas tree and you're waving and you're chin-chinning. And then you got the plane and a heart. Oh, that's sweet, Evelyn. And I hope you have a safe trip and enjoy your time in California. I know you enjoy your West Coast trips. And it's so nice that you'll be somewhere sunny and hopefully warm for Christmas. And we'll see you in the new year. Awesome. Awesome. So happy for Evelyn. Mike's saying the Wiz year, we went 13 and 14 after the All-Star break, then went 0 and 4. So about 31 games in transition period. Then we on 2015, 2016. I don't know, Mike. You're talking about 2015, 2016, and you're talking about the year we got beat by the Wizards in the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not that is not really relatable to what's going on with us at this point. It's very different periods and times and different players, and it's not even the same league at this point. So I don't know how much I know you do a lot of comparison to the past, but in some ways I mean, I think it's cool and it's good for historical context. But I'm going to say this right now. The league evolves too quickly and too fast for you to make any hard set like trending or ideas about how things are just going to go this way. This is part of the reason why I'm telling people don't expect this to just click like we did last December and everything's going to be all right, because everything is different every single year and everything is always different. And that you can't just look at a year or this and say this and this. So they're all different. It's you can't do it, bro. I mean, you can look back and say, this is what happened in history, but don't compare it to now and expect to see trends because they aren't there. I mean, the trends you can figure it out from are how the team is like handle itself in crunch time, how the team responds to try and win. Those are the trends you got to look at. But every team is so different, and the waves of how teams progress and go up and down is never the same either. You know, a team can just rise all of a sudden to a championship, all of a sudden out of the blue in some ways, and you can't totally project it or predict it just from the past. So there's all I don't know. I don't know. Bringing that up to me is it doesn't help. Nako the Nachos here. Good to see you, Nako. I think the most frustrating thing is that this is probably Pascal's best season. He has to be top 3 passer for his position in the NBA. Pascal and Gary were our best players. OG gets the 4-star. Okay, you named Pascal twice. That's on purpose. You're saying Pascal and Gary? Nako didn't want to give one to anybody else. In some ways, I agree with this. The only 2 good players we had last night were Pascal and Gary. The rest of them were really not. I mean, the ones that played a lot. This season is so frustrating because honestly, I feel like we should be building on top of what we did last year, and in some ways, we've lost things that we built last year. And in some ways, we're in worse than we were last year at this time. And I hate it. I hate it so much. And sure, we can say, okay, we're 500 right now. That's actually better than we were doing last year. I mean, shine a bright light and say, yeah, we're doing better than we did last year. And we finished better last year. Okay, maybe things aren't so bad. I don't know. It's really tough to do this stream this morning. Let's just put it that way. Monique saying, Gary, Pascal, OG playing out of their minds. 48 minutes from the others. We, the North, forever. Regardless, good morning. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, OG, I don't know. I don't know if OG had a good game or he didn't last night. It's really hard to gauge. Callie's saying, why did OG not get past 2? He should be second offense. Defense was awful. The defense was horrible. And that may be the biggest thing that scares me right now is that we had a certain level of really good defense that we at least the floor that's gone now. We have defense that goes way below like even just good defense. Like sometimes we just have horrible defense, and the standard for our defense and how we carry ourselves and how we play is not being held the same way as last year as far as standards and the way we are going to be for our identity. And that is a huge part of what scares me. That and the inability to make sure you win with at the late game close situations. Those are 2 things that are so essential for us to be a good team. Is that we need to be good at like overcoming and managing the game in the end and winning and making sure we win. That has not been good this year. And then we've had really bad defense at times, and that has not been good this year because that is not something we did like normally or regularly last year. That we always had that for sure good defense. It was our offense that struggled. Well, now we don't have that good defense, and our offense is still struggling like it was last year, maybe even worse this year. So these are the scary things for me right now as far as why the Raptors are not good this year. And in fact, I don't know if I feel like I have license to talk shit at this point about any other team in the league at this point because we are not good. I can't walk the walk. So in some ways, I need to be shutting up and saying, okay, yeah, these other teams in the East are better than us. And I hate it because I don't want to say it, but it's the reality of the situation at this point. Let's see. And I totally agree with Callie. OG needs to be used as a second option more often and really aggressively. Sue saying, enjoy yourself, Evelyn. Have a great holiday. Yes, be safe and play it again, Sue. Check out Sue's YouTube channel. She's been killing it. She has like so many clips already. She's like putting them out like 2 or 3 a day. You go, Sue. Play it again, Sue. So many classic, great songs you guys are covering. I've been watching a lot of your clips. I watched a bunch of them yesterday. Really good stuff. Play it again, Sue, on YouTube. Kareem Thomas is here. Good to see Kareem. Delano Banton should have played. We definitely missed the opportunity to push the pace and it became stagnant. Our half court offense is trash. If we can't hit shots, especially against the zone, man, I can't disagree with anything Kareem said here. In fact, I'm like mystified. Why didn't we play any Banton last night? A game against a young team like the Magic, Nick's just dropping the ball in certain ways, in different ways, with not doing things, with getting guys in situations. And he'll say, oh, I need to do this to win the game. Well, you didn't fucking win the game. So what's the point of even doing it like that? I don't know. He's got to figure things out. He may need to reconstruct his mind and how he thinks about his rotation right now. I really think this is one of the biggest flaws with our team, is that he has certain ideas about what quality he wants on the court. Well, sometimes you don't need all of them to have a super good quality. You need just like 4 of them to be super good quality. And then you have that one bench dude that's like a specific role, like Khem for defensive purposes near the basket, Delano for up-tempo ball bringer up the court, just to speed things up and attack the rim with aggressiveness. Delano Banton's perfect to play against the Orlando Magic, Nick Nurse. He's perfect. I know he makes mistakes and you're trying to limit the turnovers, and you did a good job of that, but that's the only thing you did good at was the turnover battle. But I totally agree with Kareem on this. Delano Banton was tailor-made to play against the Orlando Magic, and hopefully we'll see him play against them tomorrow. That's the thing. We get to play them tomorrow and fix some things. We beat them tomorrow. That's 2-1 for the series. And we can, we don't want to get swept by them in Orlando. So this is a high pressure game against Orlando tomorrow now. It's crazy. Name was saying, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. So I do too. I really do. Like I actually smoked before I did this stream. I had to take care of myself before this. I'm like, man, I can't do this. I got to smoke a little because I got to cut the edge. And like, I don't want to be too serious because I am feeling really serious. So I was like, okay, just a little bit. I never do that before streams, but I felt like I needed to today. I was like, I don't want to do like an hour or 2 talking about this and not be a little bit high. It's like, PM's here. Good to see PM. The Raps game was not lost on the court last night. It was lost in the strip club the night before. Holy crap, PM. No, it has nothing to do with that. These guys aren't at the strip club down there. This is crazy tabloid stuff, and we don't like the TMZ reporting. So tread lightly. Let's say Logical saying salute nameless. Last night was jokes. Still got cat sweaters for sale. Cat sweaters? What? Cat sweaters? Monique saying 905 lose another tough one. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. I have no faith in them either. Nako the Nacho saying Fred VanVleet is the only starter I'm actively worried about. Not that it's the only reason we lost, but Fred's decision making has been better. We might have won. Yeah, I don't know if I can exactly pinpoint that. I think Nako, it's like a collective effort on defense. First of all, it's a major fail. And then once again, I don't think Nick Nurse is utilizing the roster correctly, and that his rotations and his use of the team is not helping us win. And just maybe like people just being more aggressive and stepping up next to Pascal late in the game. So you could blame Fred for that, I guess, that he really needed to step up and hit some shots late to help Pascal carry to get that closed and get us over the top. But yeah, we didn't deserve to win the game last night. Orlando did. They played very, very well on defense, and they had a scorching offensive game. I mean, they shot so well last night. It's insane because they normally don't shoot this well, Orlando. And we gave them good vibes. Once again, we're that team that goes around the league and gives different teams that are hurting good vibes. 59% from the field. That's crazy. The Magic don't shoot 60% from the field. That's just crazy. Let's see. Nameless. Haha. No doubt. Logical. Glad we could still have a little fun through the tough game. Hand in Siberian cat fur sweaters. I don't know what y'all are talking about with these cat fur sweaters. Was I around when you guys talked about this, or is this talk from another chat you guys are just bringing here? I think maybe you guys were talking about this on Raptors tonight, is what I'm thinking. Mike's saying if people go back and rewatch Fred defending and watch the perimeter and others defending there, it's easy to see why we lost. And Fred was the only guy putting up a fight there. I believe Mike in this, and I think he's right. But I don't think you need to defend Fred because I don't think Fred is really to blame in a lot of ways for last night, other than maybe not stepping up offensively. Defensively, I won't blame him, and I agree with you. He was one of the bright spots on defense last night compared to a lot of what the other guys were doing. It's really was down low. The defense was poor. The defense was pretty good around the perimeter in a lot of ways, but it's down low. There was nobody stopping people near the basket or even like getting physical with them. And maybe we need another, like, it's crazy because we have so many big guys. Well, Precious is this dude. He's the dude who's missing. He's another guy that will get physical and challenge anybody who comes near the basket. That's what we need. That Yuta mentality of like, I'm going to go up and try and block you no matter what, even if I'm on a poster. Callie's saying Pascal has higher assists than Fred. That ball needs to be moving. Too much standing around. I agree with that. I like it moving around. But, Pascal by nature is just getting the ball almost all the time. So in some ways, that's not surprising to me that he had one more assist than Fred. Just because he has the ball. Like, I would say right now, he had like 80% of the time Pascal had the ball on our offense. Tom Duke saying, salute Lex for being here for us on a tough morning. Press the like button, freaks. The Magic at home, healthy and played a great game versus the Raptors. So much of the season left to change the narrative. There is so much time and potential. I just going based on what the reality is right now. Now, I want to change this reality, and it can very much change. And we do want it to be a positive change and something going up and good things happening. And a lot of things can happen. This is the odyssey of a long NBA season. It's a journey. It's a very long journey. And, like the Homer's Iliad and all that, there's different stops in the Odyssey. And some of them are awful. Some of them have to do with Medusa or like turning to stone. Some of them have to do with sirens calling to you, and they trap you, and you get trapped at an island. So, there's not good stops during that whole trip through the whole season. Some of them are beautiful and paradise, and some of them are really dark. And we just got to realize that that's part of the NBA season. And we're in a dark spot right now. Yeah. We've had a lot of dark in the last month, and it sucks. I hate it. The injuries really messed up a good vibe and a good thing that we had going. It looked real good before everybody went down, and we're really reeling from the injuries and different things that have happened at this point. All right. Tom Duke saying, let's go. Tom saying also, of course, Precious is going to turn things around just like he did last year. I hope Precious is a big part of helping us turn things around for our team. Mike saying, no doubt, the shop's going to be 24/7. All right. Once again, Mike, you're getting engaged in conversations with other people in this chat. And I don't mind it to a degree, a little bit of back and forth. But when you guys have an ongoing conversation that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about on here, it's just your own agenda, that's not welcome here, Mike. And I don't know how to deal with your comments anymore. In fact, I might have to skip some of them just because they're not part of what we're doing here. So I don't even know what that means, man. The shop is going to be 24/7. Precious is faster than even OG. Precious is capable on guards more. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit true. Precious is very good defender. I mean, oh my gosh, we need him back. Monique saying, please hit first tomorrow. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. Yeah, Magic don't need to be the first team with the lead tomorrow. We need to be doing that. If we have any pride, if we feel anything what we felt from last night, they need to bring that energy and be like pissed off tomorrow. Isaac saying Raptors priority is defense, yet that doesn't mean you decide who is going to shoot the ball each time and call it a day. Bad threes without rebounding is like a turnover when Orlando shoots 59%. Yeah, Isaac's right on. with all of that. Oh, man, I wish we made more shots. We really don't. We're not a good shooting team. Name was saying we knew we would be horrible shooting team before the season starting. People were asking, well, who's going to create their own offense or generate any shooting? Not surprised or caught off guard at all about this. Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess I don't know. I still think that they can figure it out, and maybe law of averages will get a nice, easier streak down the road and more luck. Let's see. PM. All right, PM. You got two. You get one more, and then you struck out. All right, just so you know. I'm not gonna read it because it's so stupid. Bobo, Subway with Bobo. Yeah, I know. Like that would be perfect. Maybe in Orlando they're doing that. I mean, they got Subway Bowlway down there too. It probably is the Orlando commercial. They'd be smart to put Bobo in the Bowlway commercial, I guess. Monique saying, Champagne looking so comfortable. Man, 3 stars of the game. Pascal, Gary, OG. Okay. Yep. Those the same as me. And then 3 stars for the other one, Reggie and Champagne. And you didn't name a third person for 905. And I get it. That's the thing. We're looking at both the box scores from last night. And on both teams, there's only 2 good players on the main roster Raptors and 2 good players on the 905. Everybody else played like shit on both other the rest of the games for the most part. Nobody had a good game other than we can say Justin Champagne, Jeff Doughton Jr., Pascal Siakam, and Gary Trent Jr. Those are the only 3 people that played well last night in the Raptors organization. Like the good enough was, and I don't even pick Reggie. Reggie shot shit last night. Monique, he shot so bad. He was 4 for 18 last night. That is horrible. Reggie Perry, horrible with the 4 for 18 shooting. 1 of 6 from 3-point land. Only 13 points, a -7, and only 2 rebounds too, Monique. 2 rebounds in 31 minutes? That's horrible, Reggie Perry. I can't believe that. You mean Jeff Dowden, because Jeff Dowden played really good. Cowboys saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. It wasn't a W, but hopefully we can get them back on Sunday. I hope so too, Bradley. We really do need to beat the Magic tomorrow. And if we don't, then what the fuck? Like, it's going to be a really weird place, this channel. I might get a little like crazy and maybe talk to the puppet more. Seriously, that may happen. It was like, I might like start like losing my mind if we lose too much. And Justin Bieber may be on the show a lot at that point. Justin Bieber. And yeah, rightfully so. Look, he's serious. He don't even want to talk to you. He's just going to stare at y'all because he's like, that's what the Raptors should be doing today, is just staring at themselves in the mirror right now. Like, look, Justin Bieber is looking at you right now, Raptors, and trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with you. Look at him. He won't even say anything. Oh my gosh. He's such a chatterbox. When nobody's around, this dude's always talking my ear off. And right now he's so disgusted he has no words. All right, you did your job. You can go. All right. All right. Yeah. So yeah. Jimmy Pope saying embarrassing. Yeah. So Justin just came out here. He showed his disdain. Monique is saying Doughton clicking. Yeah, Doughton plays so good for them last. I really love Jeff Doughton, and I want to let's talk about things we love. Jeff Doughton, you're a fantastic basketball player. Nameless saying the Brian Winders fingers. We saw the fingers. Yeah, I'll bring them out every once in a while. It's like, are we going to be a good team or not? We can't close games, and we don't play defense at times. That's not a good team. Lion Hunter saying, I don't understand Scottie's vibe. He was late in all his rotations, looked completely disinterested. What's going on? It was weird because he was hyped for this game. And I know he was because he loves playing in Orlando. He has family at the game. And he was hyped at the beginning of the game. I don't think he's disinterested. There's 2 things that happen. I think he found failure at the beginning of the game defensively a couple times. And it got him out of his head. And then Nick, he did something weird when he took him out for the first time in the game. He sat him like a huge amount of time. Normally, Scottie may get like he may be taken out at the beginning of the game and the first substitution, but then he gets re-added in the next like cycle. But he didn't even do that to him. He left him out for like a good chunk. Like I said, it was at the end of the first quarter. And then maybe like almost till like 3 minutes to go in the second. In the second is when he finally put him in. So he left him out for like a whole quarter in the first half. And that may have been where we messed up because he needed to be getting back in there and engaged in the game. And that Nick may have sat Scottie too long in the first half, and that might have messed him up for like seeming like he's engaged in the game. I don't know. He failed right at the beginning, and he yanked him, and it was rightfully so because he was making us look bad in some ways. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's disinterested. Trust me, he cares and he wants to win. It's just I think that he has problems with his attention sometimes. Like that he's not just this guy that he can easily just dial in. I think sometimes he may be like distracted in some ways, and that doesn't it's not even that he wants to be. It's just that he's not realizing just how dialed in and just how prepared he needs to be for games in certain levels. And so I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out too. That I think also once again, it's like Leo said, and I said it yesterday. Players are going to have ups and downs, and this just was a down game for him. And sometimes that's all it is. Is it just a down game? I mean, we really look at his stat line. He wasn't horrible. He did do some stuff. He got 6 rebounds. He got 2 assists. He could have gotten 2 more at least assists. I think he would have had 5 assists if his teammates could shoot, honestly. But yeah, he should have been more aggressive. 6 points isn't enough. And a lot of that was right at the beginning of the game, and then he disappeared for the rest of the game. So I don't know. Maybe it's like something like the coaches need to be like, Scottie, you haven't scored since the first quarter. You need to get out there and get some more points. And Nick also talks about this phenomenon where Scottie will have a bad period of the game, but then he just wakes up and then he has like a really good quality period of the game. Well, I think last night what happened was he just never woke up and got that good quality period of the game where he's doing a whole bunch of winning plays all in a row. He just wasn't a factor at all. And that's part of what's disappointing people is that he just hasn't stepped up to be a factor in a void. We had a void last night, and he could have stepped up into that void, but he didn't. And I don't know if that's totally fair for us to be upset with him about because once again, he's a young player, he's still learning. In fact, I would be more upset with OG and Fred for not stepping up next to Pascal instead. Let's see. Fun guys here. Good to see I'm a fun guy. Fred taking final seconds ball handling never works. His only chance is catch and shoot. The ball should never be in his hand to create last seconds. Man, last night was bad. Yeah, I agree. That play at the end where Fred ended up with the ball in the lane and he's trying to force a shot over them. That's horrible basketball. That is just horrible scheming. I don't know what it is with Nick. I know that he doesn't call plays completely, but maybe he should and really like make like set plays that these guys run in situations like that because that seemed like a broken play and they were just scrambling and just trying to get the ball up before the shot clock ran out. Why the fuck has Fred got the ball? I know you're doing a little 2-man play with Siakam and the wrong guy ended up with the ball at the end of it. And especially like him forcing and trying to do that. And this is where Callie said he needed to pass it. Well, he probably needed to pass at that point, but there wasn't enough time and he had to take the shot. And then he's forcing a really crazy off balance shot over 2 Magic players in the lane. And it looked like shit. You're right. And it doesn't work. And it's not the best option. There were a lot of late game shots that were not the best shot selection that I'm like, why the fuck are we shooting that? Like, I love Chris, but a Chris Boucher 3-pointer late in the game is not necessarily the best shot selection, or a Thad Young one either. And, Fred trying to do certain things. It's like, go to what is a good shot selection. Scottie in the post, Pascal attacking the rim, OG doing whatever. I don't care. Why are these the people we're seeking out in those situations or stepping up to try and get the ball themselves? But it was really bad last night, fun guy. And I have smoked marijuana before I started this stream because, well, I shouldn't say marijuana, cannabis, because, yeah, I had to handle this today. Mike's saying, glad to hear Champagne is back. Saw his return game, post-game pressure. He seems in good spirits. Yeah, that was a great interview with Justin earlier this week. The one you're talking about where he's saying he's 100% finally with his health and he feels good. Yeah, he had a monster game yesterday. And this really bodes well for potential possibly with the main squad and doing things in the coming weeks. Hopefully, maybe he can make an impression and do some of the things we really need done right now. I don't know. Maybe he's part of the solution. Who knows? Van Hoot saying, remember I said about the importance of ball movement. That's all I got to say. Ball movement. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Ball movement was such a key in the game on Saturday where we beat them. And, the ball movement wasn't totally horrible. It's just the execution after the ball movement wasn't that good. And that's a big part of it, too. It's like you can have beautiful assists, beautiful pass by Scottie, but the guy who gets the ball doesn't make it, then it's all lost. It's a lost stat. It's kind of like, if somebody does something cool on the court, like a breakdown move, like a dribble between the legs and break somebody's ankles, but then they come off and they don't hit the shot. It's not a highlight anymore. They may do an impressive little dribble. They'd be like, oh, that's an ESPN top play of the week. But if they miss the shot immediately after, it's not that impressive. So it's the same kind of thing. If Scotty's going to make a no look pass or an amazing pass to somebody, if they don't make the shot, it's not impressive. It doesn't go to the highlights because it's a missed shot. Nobody wants to see that in the highlights, but you miss out on the great pass that would have set it up. So, all right, Starscream is here. Go lightly, please, Net fan. Please go lightly. And I do remember you did disappear from the channel last year at a certain point. I know you'll be nice. Let me see what you're saying. Starscream is saying, whoa, it went way too far. Okay, Lex, I warned you guys not to take them lightly. Yeah, I mean, we knew this. We were saying it here. I said it yesterday in the preview. Don't take them lightly. Come out here very serious. It's a business trip. You're going to Orlando for business. You're not going there to go touristy shit, sightseeing, doing what PM said. These guys don't go to strip clubs. Seriously, they weren't at the strip clubs. If they were, then they deserved to lose last night. But yeah, you know what? I don't want to think that they took them lightly. I think that there's some issues with our team, Starscream. Let's just put it that way. You've had your issues with your team. You know how it feels. Well, we're having our issues right now. Let's just put it that way. I don't think it's anything we can pinpoint specifically. I think that there's just a major team problem with dedication to making sure we win. And that's the crux of it right there. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your warning. And thank you for not just like kicking us while we're down. Monique saying, is the Noah system working for us right now? I'd say no, but definitely not giving up. Yeah, I don't like this Noah system because it seems like it's come in and our shooting has just gotten worse. Does that make any sense? Then you get this crazy impressive system, but your shooting gets worse. I don't understand this at all. I really don't. And I don't know. Maybe we should get rid of that Noah system. I don't know. Maybe there's a learning curve and we'll have amazing shooting at some point. Something will just click all of a sudden because the Noah system, and we'll be hitting all of our shots all of a sudden. Who knows? Logical Raptors Fanatic saying team progression, period. Plan Masai bases decisions on the past results, and he's like a robot in that sense. Time will tell. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's always so different, and the game evolves so quickly. The players evolve, the different players you have, and no situation's exactly the same. I mean, I guess you can try and mimic past good results by trying to do some of the same things. I guess you could do that. But yeah, it's hard for me to like. I don't know. Either way, we'll have to see what happens. I don't think that they're desperate at this point, but I think that there will be a move if things don't start getting better. And by the end of December, there's gonna be a shakeup. There will be a shakeup. Let's see. PM saying everything gonna be all right. I hope so. Don't worry about a thing. Cause every little thing gonna be all right. All right, I like that. Tom Dugas saying, I agree with you, PM. Something fun yesterday was the Pelicans and Phoenix becoming a good rivalry. Did you see that Zion dunk at the end of the game? I heard he did a 360 on them, and the Phoenix Suns are rankled. That was the word we used. The Phoenix Suns were rankled by Zion Williamson ending the game with a flashy 360 dunk when he beat them. Listen, let the man do that. He did the same shit to us. He does that. He beat y'all. You just go ahead and take it. That's just how it is, bro. I'm sorry, man. Zion doing that. And in some ways, I'm like glad he beat Phoenix last night. I'm telling you, I'm becoming more and more of a Pelicans fan. And I have no problem with this at all. It's kind of funny. I'm a fun guy saying it just doesn't make sense how we are the worst third quarter team in the league. We literally just come out and give up runs after halftime. Like, what the fuck? It's been every single game in the third, shaking my head. It's the first or the third. It's one of those two beginning quarters of one of the halves, because it was the first against New Orleans, first against Brooklyn that Friday, the first against Oklahoma City. And then, okay, we have a good first half, but then boom, we shit the bed in the third. Let's look at the third quarter scoring totals. It's 24-27. So they only outscored us by 3. And the thing was, why it looked so bad is because we had such a bad drought at the beginning. We really caught up more in the second part of the third quarter and made it look better. But it's true. We started that third quarter in a drought, and they went on a crazy run, and they had a huge lead on us, and we were fighting back, and we kind of shrunk the lead by the end of the third quarter. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that we don't come out more prepared. Once again, that's something on the coach. The coach needs to make sure his team is prepared energy-wise and gumption-wise. You need to get the dog out of them, Nick. Get the dog going. Name was saying, you're becoming more of a realist, I find lately, Lex. Welcome aboard, my friend. I've always been a realist, nameless, but I'm a realist that is an optimist. And normally that's the difference. It's like, in some ways, I'm a little bit more pessimistic right now. And it is partly because I'm being a realist about things, but it's part of also, like, if I'm going to do this channel and try and help understand what's going on with the Raptors, I have to be real about it. And when I say that they're really good and they could win a championship and they could do all this, I mean it, because I really do believe that. But when I don't feel like that's maybe realistic at a certain point, well, I'll start saying, you know what? Nah, we can't catch fire if there's fundamentally things that the team isn't not doing well. And if we don't do these things well, we will not win. And we should not expect to get a championship this year. So it's a very fine balance. It's like, okay, I won't say that we're absolute shit, though. And I do think we can turn this around. This is a long season, and there's a lot of things that can happen. Really good things can happen for us still. So I could still say NBA champions 2023 Toronto Raptors, and I mean it. But in a realistic way, I'm saying, well, the chances of that aren't as good today as they were yesterday, because we saw some failure last night. It looks real bad. But it's just that I try not to be a pessimist ever in any kind of thing, because pessimism is tough, because it makes you a cynic and it makes you feel like, well, what's the point? And that's not the right way to be. You should be like, there is always a chance and something to work towards and try and make progress and do better. And that's the difference. But at this point in time, I have to be real about things. We're missing certain parameters and important things a winning team needs to have. And that's sound defense and being able to close and win games and knowing how to win games. And we're not doing either one of those at times. And it's a real big warning to me. Like, it's alarm bells to me in some ways. They got to recommit to their defense being one of the best defenses in the league. And they need to recommit to, like, we need to do everything possible to try and win games and set ourselves up to win games. And part of that is not letting teams run away with the game in the middle of it and trying to make up deficits. So, and Mike saying, salute, bro. Real ones, Project Truth always. Yeah, even when it hurts. Scott B is here. Good to see Scott B. He's got a roofing company, Northeastern Roofing Company. If you need some shingles done, something done to your roof, call Scott B in Northeastern Roofing Company. Sad what legalized gambling and league manipulation has done to the sport. Raptors are a far better team and organization. The teams in this league, problems we are in Canada. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try and read between the lines of your comments, Scott B. So you're saying because the gambling is more pronounced and becoming more forefront, that it's hurting the Raptors because we're the only team in Canada. I think that the biggest thing that's hurting us right now is this herky-jerky schedule. It's so crazy how we're so back and forth, like win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. And it's not even that we're like really streaking in losses or in wins. It's very much like a very 1-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-1, 1-1, 1-1, back and forth. And so we're not able to get any kind of streak going. And in some ways it's jerky, herky-jerky. Now, I've wondered about what you're saying. How will this impact the game? And how will this? We've seen different content on TSN and stuff where they have a gambling expert who comes out and gives you odds, and they're encouraging people to want to bet. But I can tell the normal broadcasters like Leo and Sam Mitchell are kind of like turned off by this dude that comes up and starts spouting odds and like, well, you should take the bet on this. Fred VanVleet getting 6 assists or more in this game. Callie, don't take the bet. It's like we don't need that content. Fuck that shit. And I think it's immoral in some ways. Like there's a reason why they don't advertise alcohol and cigarettes in certain places. And there may need to be a reason why they don't advertise gambling on sports channels because there's addiction issues. And you want to cause more social problems, more broken families, more children without food to eat because their father just gambled away all the money for the month. You go ahead, TSN and sports channels. You fucking add to social misery and problems in society for a little bit more money. And yeah, it's insidious, it's immoral, and it's fucked up. Because honestly, it's just like putting a bunch of alcohol commercials in front of an alcoholic and stuff like that. It's the same kind of shit. Some people have gambling addictions, and what they're doing with our sports content is really not nice. In fact, if I had a gambling addiction, at this point I wouldn't be able to watch TV at this point if I had that problem myself. I've never gambled in my life. I know I would get into it if I did, and it may become a problem for me, but I won't even start. I know that it's like something that I just don't need to even start, even though I'd be really good at it, and I may be able to make a lot of money doing it. But I don't want to get into that whole culture or lifestyle because you can really fuck your life up. And I don't know, like, so you're saying, Scott, you think that maybe games are being manipulated for betting reasons? I mean, there's the Tim Donaghy story, I don't know. It's an interesting comment, and maybe over time we'll revisit this idea and maybe think about whether there is some real evidence that supports what you're saying. Monique's saying, what did you take away from the post-game interviews in Raptors Tonight if you watched? I didn't watch Raptors Tonight, but I did watch the post-game interviews. They only had 2 short interviews with Nick and Pascal. And yeah, they're both like not happy with things. Now, Pascal, he did say this, and you have to listen to him. And this is part of the why, we're going to all overreact. Part of what's happening today in Raptors fan nation is there's a bunch of serious ones like us. So serious that we'll come to a live stream and talk about a loss for a couple hours. And then there's some fans that are like fans and they still love the team and they'll still watch, even though it's hard to watch. And then there's some fans that are just going to turn off the TV and give up on the Raptors for the season. And this is where they start coming off the road with us. And we'll continue down the road with the team, but there's going to be a lot of people jumping ship and just like, nah, I'm done with the Raptors for the year when they lose to the worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic. So this is going to separate the real ones out because there's, people are not going to be watching because they don't like to watch the team lose. And now that they've lost it to a team like the Magic, a lot of people that are fair weather fans are just going to turn the TV off. And part of the phenomenon also is going to hurt their ticket sales. There's going to be a lot of like problems with like selling out the building and having everybody down there because the perception of the team is going to be this isn't one of their good years. And then a lot of Toronto sports fans will just not come to the games because they're not feeling like the vibe is strong. It's the same thing with the Blue Jays. If the Blue Jays are winning and they're doing really well, that place gets packed. But if they're kind of mid, if they're 500 or maybe a losing team, nobody goes to Blue Jays games. So we may get this phenomenon, and it may be good for some of us diehards because we could get to go to cheaper games and get to go to, there won't be as many people in the building. But, it's still going to suck, and it's not good for the team. We want them to win. We want the perception in the public to be that they're a winning team so that people will come and spend money and buy tickets. But they're not going to after the game last night. Trust me. It's going to be like they're going to have a hard time getting people to fill up the building after this. Because the perception now is that they're a losing team. It's just not their year. People are just like, well, I'll wait till next year when they're better. But Pascal said this. He said, listen, even though what I just said is this way and the perception about Orlando is a certain way, every single team in this league is good and beating any team is hard. And that once again, he's saying this. And even though you can see the record and stuff like that, it's not easy to beat any team. And that's the thing he was really trying to get across. Jam Joseph is here. The last play was absolutely horrendous. Fred should have passed it to Pascal and Pascal would have passed it to Scottie and the game would have been tied at least. overtime. I feel we had momentum. We did have some good momentum at the end, and it was almost purely solely responsible from Pascal Siakam. But yeah, I was very frustrated with the execution at the end of the game. And that's what I'm saying. Those are the two things: the defense not being very good and letting things happen willy nilly for Orlando. And then end of game execution was so poor last night. I feel like we're regressing in that area. That is something that the Raptors have done really well for a while now. Part of our playoff championship core like mentality, our culture. We survived the Tampa season keeping late game management intact. It's just that there were a lot of games that weren't close and we couldn't late game manage to try and win. But the games that were close, we could manage them and still win the game. Well, now we're getting in close games at the end of the game and we're not managing them and being the team that wins. That was a stat that we did so good over the last 5 years. And it's disappearing right now. And I don't like that. That is a scary thing to me. We need that late game management and clock using it to our advantage and making sure we win. Oh my gosh. Mike saying, sorry, Lex, it's a dumb joke from yesterday. I have really tried to make a point of acting how you want on the channel. Sorry, I'm just a true fanatic bull. You're all good, Mike. You know what? I'm grumpy today. So, normally I would be like a lot more tolerant, but today I'm in a bad mood. I really am. And it's all good. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, I don't know what this cat hair thing that you're talking about. You're going to have a company where you sell cat hair or something. Like shaving cats somewhere? I don't know what's going on. It's all good, man. I appreciate you, Mike. I really, really do. And you are a great contribution to this channel. It's just I get confused. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Freaks. Angry we wasted Pascal's hard work. Orlando, just like the Pelicans, long are athletic, playing our style. Earl Watson is our next head coach. I always felt that in my head. Nurse can't coach Scottie. Ooh, wow, Cool Cat. That is a lot right there. That is a lot. That's deep. I don't know where to tackle first. You know what? This is similar to a game where Pascal got a really high total before and we lost. It's the same kind of thing. He has to carry so much water. There's something wrong. We need more balance and like guys stepping up. If you have 3 guys to get 20 plus points, that's always pretty good. And when we only have 2 and one's only at 20 and the other one's at like 36, that's not good enough. We need somebody else to step up and get above 20 themselves. And we know the names that should be the likely candidates to do that. I think that Mo Bamba, it's crazy how much just Mo Bamba being added to the lineup helped them last night. And on the down low, I think he was kind of an MVP for them. And people won't probably talk about that. Him coming off the bench, getting so many rebounds. You know what? I'm not going to speculate about Nick Nurse losing his job because I don't think he's going to lose his job. And still to this point. But, Earl Watson's going to be a great head coach. And if he is our next head coach, I wouldn't be upset about that. But I don't want Nick to go anywhere. I think that this is, once again, this is kind of like the Fred stuff recently. We got to realize who we've got and how valuable he is. And just we got to, hopefully he understands that he can develop and adjust himself and that he's smart enough to do that. The wisest person knows that they know nothing. And I want Nick to really get back to that kind of mentality for a second, because it may be that he's too strict and rigid about what he knows and what he thinks is right. And then maybe he needs to get that philosophy of saying, you know what? I don't know jack shit, and start over from that point, because sometimes that may be the best way. You start over from an educated point and boom, all of a sudden you figure stuff out. So yeah, I hate that you said that though this morning, that you want Nick out and Earl as the next head coach. If it happens that way, I wouldn't be upset, but I don't want Nick going anywhere. I'm just saying if Nick gets, that happens, Earl's a great person to be the next one. That's not what I'm saying. I just don't want Nick to get fired. I don't think he should be. And I think that he's pretty safe. I don't think that this is likely. But yeah, I hate that whole idea. Just thinking about that right now just kind of bugged me in some ways. And I think it's just that I think it's very similar to Fred. We need to protect Nick and look out for him because he is really good and he does a lot of good things for us. Fun guy saying Bol ate Scotty's Bol. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the real mascot matchup is going to be really interesting for tomorrow. Let me tell you. Tom Duke saying, if you do that with Justin Bieber, I will spam like Craig with Rebus messages. If he's just standing there looking at the screen, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he should talk. I've been thinking about this. Like, his voice is kind of annoying. And I've told him, you can be on the show, but you can't talk. Maybe that'll be what happens. Kareem Thomas is saying we should try Scottie at point guard. It allows him to get engaged in the game and helps Raps fly off the rebound. Fred VanVleet algorithm is messing up the chemistry, and I advise all players to delete everyone. Yeah, yeah. I got to get back to something I forgot to mention about Cool Cat saying. She's saying that she doesn't think that Nick Nurse can. Who said Nick Nurse can't coach Scottie? I don't know if that's true. Scottie can be coached by anyone. Honestly, he's coachable by anyone, and that's not the issue. The issue with Scottie is so weird. It's just really that he's young and he's learning and he's going to make dumb mistakes and he hates them and he wants to not make them. And he also understands when he doesn't play well. I don't think there's a problem with Nick Nurse and Scottie. That's not the issue. That they actually are a really good working relationship. I don't know. I don't think that's any part of the issue. I think the issues have to do with a team effort, and I don't know. I'm gonna probably have to quit soon, guys, because I'm not feeling well, and I'm gonna probably have to go to the bathroom. So no more comments, and I'll just finish up the ones that are left, and we'll call it for a day, and we'll do the preview tomorrow. Oh yeah. All right, here we go. I love Scottie at point guard, Kareem. If we can do this, we'll do it at some point, and Fred will be off ball. But I really think that it's just a point guard by committee kind of thing. Fred, Pascal, and Scottie all kind of like chipping in different ways. Yeah. Monique saying Raptors are allowing opponents to shoot in the Eastern Conference worst 52% from the field in the first quarter. That's horrible. I hate that stat. Scottie's overthinking at the moment, trying to learn a bunch of things and trying to take certain things in. It's a bit overwhelming for a 21-year-old at the moment, but he will mature and concrete a lot of this stuff earlier than other guys. This is true too. This is part of it. Is the he's getting a lot of the hard growing pains out of the way real early, and there'll be growing pains throughout his whole career in different ways. But this may be just like the really tough time right now. So I'm with you on that, Mike, for sure. Top saying, morning, Lex. Funny how certain people thought I had a vendetta against Fred. It's not that. I just adjust for context. With the team we have now, we need a point guard that penetrates or scores or assists. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see if we can still make it work. But listen, I'm not totally down on Fred. I don't think what he did was totally him last night. I mean, I don't like him having the ball at the end of the game. Sure. And maybe he could have had more assists, but I still think that he's a good, solid player for what's going on with us. But you may be right. I don't know. I'm so like in doubt at this point. There's not really a whole lot of sure about the Raptors right now, and I wish there was. Mike's going to stand up for him. This is going to be the same stuff from the other day too. That wasn't the issue. Defense was. We're built on defense, and everything is based there on how we need to win based on the roster. It's clear in a team defending system. I can't have a weak link. That is true. Like, we have to have a good defense to win. If we don't have that good defense going on, we're going to lose every time because our offense will not surge up and win in spite of the defense. That's the problem. The other teams can do that. They can have a horrible defense and just outscore the other team because they're very capable on offense. So when we don't have our defense, we're horrible and we're not going to win. And that's just a prerequisite. We have to have our defense to win. If we don't have it, we're not going to win. And Race Mode Daily saying inexcusable. And I agree with that. I do agree. Losing to the Magic is inexcusable this year. It just is. Just is. Line Hunter saying we got blown out in the first and third with Koloko at center, not pinning it on him, but he's just inexperienced and not ready. This is more on management for not having another viable option at center. We do, though, is Khem Birch. And Nick even said he should have played him more. And I agree. That is something that is coinciding with bad periods. Think about this. And this is something I've said in the last 10 days or so about starting Koloko, Nick, is you're starting a green player that is a liability and a mismatch problem right away. And you're letting offenses start very well. His shot blocking and his defense is not doing it. He's not doing it right now. He's not a good defender yet. He looks like a good defender. He may be like a specialist shot blocker defender that looks real good at shot blocking, but he's not a good body defender or post defender. And so this is really actually a very astute observation by Lion Hunter that it coincides with Koloko being out there in his minutes because he starts the first and he starts the third, and then he doesn't play the whole rest of the game, and we have better success with our defense. Brian Windhurst. Khem Birch, start him and see the difference in how we start the game. Seriously, I challenge you, Nick. You start Khem Birch against his former team, the Orlando Magic, tomorrow, and you see how much better we start the game tomorrow with him at center instead of Koloko. Seriously, I dare you, Nick. Start Khem Birch. You said you should have played him more yesterday. Start him tomorrow and see the big difference and see if this completely turns around what Lion Hunter has brought up. Seriously. It could be a whole world of difference, and this team will, holy crap, he's right. And that Koloko maybe should be either playing on 905 or just be used as a bench rotational specialist for rim protection when that is needed. You need low post, grunt, keep them away from the basket, Khem Birch. You need a roving shot blocker who's a threat to block shots and scare people off. Then you bring in Koloko later. It's not that one before the other one because you have not set up the defensive presence down low, and you've opened the door for a guy like Mo Wagner to come in and look like he's a better Wagner brother. All right, let's see. I'm a fun guy saying, I'm sorry, but we will only elevate the moment Van Vliet is gone. See, there's a lot of people calling for Fred's head right now. A lot of people calling for it. Top of Top saying, I think Fred is a capable player. I just never viewed him as a starter. Like with Gary, he can flourish off the bench, but he's too expensive to keep here in that role. You know what? In some ways, I can't disagree with this, Top of Top. In some ways, you may be right. I was trying to describe this the other day, that maybe Fred's career path is very much like a hill. It's like he just comes up, he hits these highs as a starter, as an all-star, and then it's like kind of his role changes back to being more of a role player off the bench again instead of a starter. And some people will say, you're crazy. He has so wealth of knowledge. He's so savvy. He does so many intangibles, like Mike is saying. But, like we've seen with Gary, this has really helped. And if we use guys on the bench in certain ways, they can really help. Like in some ways, Fred was the captain of the bench mob. I'd love to have a new bench mob. Like, Nick, why can't you look at our team as being such a nice big roster that you can make teams of 5? You could have your bench 5 and you can have your starting 5. And your starting 5 isn't all of your absolute best players. It's like your 3 best players and 2 role players. And then you got your next best players on the bench, your next 3 best players on the bench. And it could be a starting lineup like Scottie at point guard, OG, Pascal, Precious, and Khem Birch is your starting lineup. And then on the bench, you got like Fred, Gary, Juancho, Otto, Thaddeus, and Koloko. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are like down on Fred, and this is after him coming back and showing something. And then, I don't know. It's hard for me to defend Fred to an extent on things because he's not being successful lately. Monique saying Raps have to find a way to stop these terrible first quarters, forcing them to do way too much unnecessary work just to stay in the game. The offense has not been good enough all season. Yeah, I really think the Lion Hunter's right. If we stop starting Koloko right now, he's a rookie. How many games has he played in his entire career? Don't be fucking doing this shit. Like, you're already doing this with Scottie. Forcing him into starting lineup and doing this stuff. We have so, mistakes from both of them in the starting lineup. That's 2 out of 5 that are not totally like reliable and are still a little green. And that's a big problem in like setting up your defense when you have 2 inexperienced players, like not very like Scottie. I call him a 2-year vet, but he's still inexperienced to a degree. And that you have 2 of them out there, it really hurts the seal of the defense because there's 2 guys that can be screwed up because they're not savvy enough or experienced enough. And I think that's a big part of the reason why we start so bad. Nameless saying, I think maybe that Noah system or whatever is getting inside their heads a little, maybe. Same in hockey, when you try and fine tune your shot, you squeeze the stick a little too much. Could be. I wish it would just help them. I don't know. Then we got to figure out if this thing's helping or not. It seems like it isn't. Mike's saying we're adjusting away from Fred Manning, hence the opening presser. But if others aren't getting things done, he's forced to do things as a leader. And yeah, it looks like he's failing, but he's being forced at the moment. It's similar in some ways to what was happening last year, is that we just needed to lean on him so heavy just for certain things because we have nobody else that will step into those kind of roles at times. And there's a lot of truth to what he's saying here, that he's not doing what he exactly is good at, and he's being forced to do some of this stuff just because somebody has to do it, and he's the only one who's kind of got experience or reliable in the past, even though he's not being reliable at it right now. Lolita's saying Siakam, OG, and Gary's hard work was wasted when the others are not on the same page. Come on, focus and work really hard. It's not just stand and wait. Be proud of hard work. Yeah. Leave it all out on the court and haul 48 minutes. And if you are blessed to get minutes from Nick Nurse, use them and really make the best of them. Do not have any wasted minutes out there, not filling it up, not staffing the stats sheet somehow, some way. Lionheart saying, aside from that, the last shot, the majority of Fred's shots aren't even forced. He's just not making them. As soon as they go in, the discourse will quiet. I hope so. I really hope so. And then the last game really helped against the Lakers. But he's missing so much, and he's such a sure shot and so steady in his history. But we do have to realize, once again, there's ebbs and flows with every player, and that he had an adjustment in his game that's kind of messed up, and he's trying to fix it right now. Because it's not exactly on pinpoint. Monique saying most people pointing at Fred for the loss. At least most of you are giving Pascal the credit he deserves these days. Yeah, I think that the loss is a collective loss, and it's really, you can go all the way down. Even Pascal deserves some of the credit for the loss last night too, even though he was really, really good. In some ways, that they all deserve it. They all deserve the feelings that they're feeling today, because it's a collective loss. And I don't think it's singularly any single one of them's really in fault. And I'd say Nick's fault is involved in this too. Let's see. Mike saying OG and Scottie weren't going last, which forced Fred into closing with tons of attention. It's about who else is going to make those shots and take those shots. It's important to pull the defenders away. Yeah. Yeah, we could break it down in all kinds of different ways, but what is the point? What is the point, Mike? Top saying Scottie didn't play well, but it's because he needs to feel more involved in the offense, and we go through stretches where him and OG are forgotten. They need to cut and present themselves more often. Yeah, they just need to move more and be more active. We who knows what's going on? Who knows what's going on? And then we'll just do this last statement. W streams only, regardless of the loss. Keep at it, Lex. Stay positive despite these times. Thank you, Monique. I will try and stay positive. If you do too, all you guys try and stay positive still too. We are still Raptor fans. We have a great organization, the best organization in the world, and we will succeed and we will win. That's what Masai Ujiri says. That's what they all want, and they do want this. It's just we're in a bad place right now, and hopefully things will change very soon, and the team will look more like what we're used to. And some of our fears and that we've talked about today will just go away because everything's going all right. And I hope that's what happens. All right, guys, have a great Saturday. Thanks for coming in here, the Masochists Club. You come in and you talk about things that are painful, even though you just kind of want to go start your day. I appreciate it. Mike W. Stream, and we are still a good team. No worries. Believe the players. I believe in the Raptors. I believe that there's going to be a better day down the road, and that everything's going to work out for the Raptors eventually, and we're going to be fine. So, yeah. But you guys should be staring at yourselves in the mirror today, Raptors. Think about who you want to be. Do you want to be a man holding a beaver puppet? Do you want to be a team that loses games like you lost last night? Or do you want to be a team that wins games like last night? You really need to look at yourself in the mirror and think about what you want. What do you want? Do you want to be a middling 500 team, or maybe even worse than that? Or do you want to be a real bona fide Eastern Conference power? Because that's what we want you to be. That's what I was predicting y'all to be. You're making me look bad. So please wake up, Raptors. Look at yourself in the mirror, just like Justin has to look at himself every day in the mirror. Look at him. Look at him looking at himself. Like, you don't understand what this man goes through, or this beaver goes through all the time with his life. Anyway, y'all, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy my channel and my silliness. And yeah, I'll have the preview tomorrow, the ref crew, the latest on the keys to the victory. I mean, feels like today's like a whole extended thing called keys to the victory for tomorrow. It's like, what do you need to do better tomorrow, Raptors? A lot. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, let's go, Raptors. Yeah, get some sleep. Have a nice day. Forget about it for now. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Oh, God. All right, Justin. All right, man. Yeah.